think the governor also made an interesting comment when he was making the presentation, and I think perhaps I need him to repeat it, or for me to be able to process it. So some of us have more political than economically inclined backgrounds, so sometimes we might need things repeated for us. So I need to understand the governor's comments with regards to the two-pot system. Was the governor trying to say that the advent of the two-pot system, where people, of course, can withdraw portions of their pensions, allowing them to repay debts, opens them up to have more spending power, which will in turn grow the economy? I want to understand that characterization perhaps a bit more. And what does the Reserve Bank make of the consequence of that, of the financial security of these consumers when they conduct these two-pot withdrawals, which may grow the economy and increase spending power in the interim, but put them in a destitute position when they actually eventually retire? And I say this, and I think it must be tied in with the first point I make, where the monetary policy is assumed or perceived to benefit financial sector interests, because that means, and it's not an accusation, it's a scenario, that the Reserve Bank maintains high interest rates, meaning consumers will of course repay more for their debt to the financial sector. Then the introduction of the two-pot system sounds like another method for the financial sector to make profits, because people are going to withdraw from the two-pot system in order to accommodate the high interest rates which are put in place by the South African Reserve Bank. So it sort of seems like a collusion, for lack of a better word. And then economic growth will be presented to us, whereas that economic growth will primarily be financial sector related, as we saw with the gross domestic product report by Stats SA for the second quarter, where primarily the financial sector is the sector that grew because of profits as a result of high interest rates. So I want to understand, is the two-pot system necessarily beneficial, or perhaps that's a discussion that we are yet to have as well as a committee about whether it still continues to serve the envisaged interest? So because it sounded like the Reserve Bank welcomes the two-pot system on the basis that it's going to increase spending power, because people are going to repay their debts on the basis of their two-pot system withdrawals. And this just seems like a cycle that entraps our people to the financial sector that makes profits as a result of monetary policy and as a result of policies such as the Revenue Laws Amendment Bill. So I'm curious about that observation as well.
Honorable Member, the question on the two-pot system, the initial idea of the two-pot system was during COVID, where the plan was to relieve some of the pressure for the people, especially those who would have lost their jobs during COVID. And what then the system design was that we have to consider how do we ease the pressure for consumers, but how do we also protect the consumers from when they get to retirement. So if you look at the critical changes that are in the two-pot system that were not there, is that now when you leave a job, you're no longer allowed to take your entire lump sum and use it. That lump sum goes into the pension pot. So as much as you can get a relief now, there is some protection for your money when you get to retirement. The key is, what are the consumers going to spend the money on? Are they going to use the money, one, to increase their spending? Are they going to use their money to pay for the debt? Either ways, when we looked at the scenarios, is that if they use the money on consumption, the full amount on consumption, you're going to see some improvement in your growth estimates for this year. But even if there's some improvement this year, that improvement will die off in the following years, because they will not be withdrawing all of it at the same time. So the reason why you will see a jump now is because they will be withdrawing the money now. But I don't think the two-pot system is designed to benefit the financial sector. I think the way we were designing the two-pot system was how do we provide immediate relief to those who need it, but also how do we protect them when they get to the retirement age. And we think that the way in which the system is designed, it does achieve both of this. But of course, the way retirement fund works is that if you withdraw, then the interest that you would have gotten if you didn't take out your money would have been more. But because you took out the money, the interest that you're getting will be lesser. So of course, when you get to retirement age, instead of getting 1 million, you're probably gonna get 800,000 because you took out some of your money much earlier. If there is pressure and consumers are experiencing pressure, then of course they can consider the two-pot system, but you will have an opportunity cost as the more you withdraw before you get to the retirement age.